I think we are live. So, hey guys, it's Rich. Thanks for tuning in to Kansas City's Networking Connection. I'm here with Adam Doran, and I want to say first thing before we get into too much that this is our standard, non-standard disclaimer. For the record, we are not, nor we will ever be giving legal, investment, or health advice on this channel. Our opinions are our own, and if you need those services, you should seek competent advisors in those fields. This information is presented for entertainment purposes only. You have been warned. And I am joined with one of the best wealth advisors that I know. He's my personal wealth advisor, so for what it's worth. So we haven't done a lot yet, but we're going to this year, I think. It's going to be a good year for us. So anyway, Adam, welcome to the program, and I thank you for coming. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Rich. Pleasure to be here. Like you mentioned, my full-time gig is as a wealth advisor, specializing in working with business owners and real estate investors to build tax-free wealth while they grow their business and their real estate portfolio. I'm also an active real estate investor myself, and I've been doing that since 2011. Absolutely love real estate as an asset class, and happy to be here today just to talk about what I do and answer whatever questions you got to fire at me. So thanks for having me on.
I'm jealous of you because you own some multifamily. I don't even own that yet.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. That's going to be, so anyway, and then I'll just tell you guys, it's kind of funny how Adam and I met. This is one of those things where I take every opportunity to meet everybody I can. I actually, was Ubering and met a guy that works with Adam. And then next thing you know, we're talking and here we are. It's over a year later. It was funny because it was right when we got ready to move when we met. So pretty exciting how, you never miss an opportunity to go meet somebody and increase your network. So how did you get started in this business? Because this is not your original thing. You're kind of in a different career path. So why don't you tell us how that started?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I spent 16 years as a police officer before I got into this. And it was 2011. I was about 10 years into that other career. And light went off there, have those automatic lights. So I'd spent about 10 years as a police officer, was tired of living check to check. And I was like, there's got to be more to how wealth works, because this program of getting a stable job and sticking with it has not made me any better off over the last 10 years. I also, when I started that career, was single. Well, at this point now, I was married with a kid, and priorities changed. And I was tired of giving up nights, weekends, and holidays with my family and giving my best time to the police department. So I went on a personally initiated journey of how does real wealth work and how do you build it? And through that, I encountered, some knowledge that I'd never come across before, picked up some mentors, and learned that if I was going to become wealthy and build real wealth, I was probably going to have to own a business. I was going to have to understand finances in the financial markets, and I was going to need to learn about and get involved with real estate, because those three things are keys to building long-term sustainable wealth. And so as I continued down that journey, came to the conclusion I was going to want to leave police work and go into business for myself. And I thought, what better than to take and share all these things I've been learning with other people, and to do that as my new full-time thing. And so that's what it's about as a wealth advisor, is trying to share with people and educate, okay, how's real wealth work? And what are the things you ought to be doing and the steps you should be taking if you want to create it?
And so you've been doing this for 10 years. You were a police officer for 10 years. I'm going to say, which one do you prefer?
Well, you're giving me too much credit. I've been doing this for coming up on 5 years now, but okay. All the same, I by far prefer being in business for myself. And I by far prefer an environment where, fists aren't flying or bullets flying or anything like that. So I have more fun with what I do now.
Yeah, right. So what were the biggest issues with getting started in your current career path?
I would guess they were similar to anyone else who starts any kind of business. And that is, I had to plan for a reduction in income that first year, because you don't just walk off of something you've been in for 16 years, making 60, 70 grand a year, and just walk right into the next thing as a business owner. Generally speaking, as a business owner, when you start out, it's hard. And you're looking at probably a 3 to 5 year window of building and sacrificing and getting underpaid for what you do. And it was, I mean, that was the case for me too. Those first couple of years were very challenging. And so one of the things I did, my wife and I sat down and we made a game plan and said, assuming I make no money for the first 6 months in this new business, what would we do? How would we tighten things up? How would we manage that? And so we socked away the savings and controlled the expenses. Now, fortunately, I didn't make no money in 6 months. I think I got my first check, 90 days into my business. But I will tell you, my first year in business, I made $11,000.
Right. That's, yeah. I mean,
And
hey, and props to you, because you probably made more than most people. I mean, that's
it's
the reality of going into work for yourself, is it's hard to not have the steady check, right, when you're used
Yep,
to it.
that's right. Yep.
So, but the long-term benefits far outweigh, in my estimation. I mean, some people aren't like that. My wife will
They,
never be convinced of that.
yeah, they sure do. I mean, now I'm at a point where, in less than a 5 year period, I'm earning more than I had earned, 16 years into the other career. So absolutely, I think the rewards are worth it. And the other thing
Yeah.
is my lifestyle is so much better because I build my own schedule. There's
Right.
nobody to ask for permission for days off. And we can build, I can build this business in such a way that it supports the lifestyle I want.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing, man. When you can just say, "Hey, look, we're gonna go take a trip," and have other people handle stuff while I'm gone, man, it's a great lifestyle. So, um, so did anybody tell you when you were, circle of friends, you're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this"? Did anybody tell you it wouldn't work?
You know, Unfortunately, it was the folks that were closest to me, I think, that expressed the most doubts. Family and friends. Now, not my wife. My wife was actually my biggest cheerleader, but family and friends, unfortunately. And I think that's the way it is a lot of times and I think it's because family and friends want to protect you. They want to
Yes,
protect you from yourself, and they don't want to see you fall or fail. And I think failure is a prerequisite to success. So
100%.
it's okay to get knocked down and bruised up a little bit and to fail. That's how you learn and get better.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I've failed at a lot of stuff, but there's a handful of them that have been successful, and that makes up for it. I mean, and here's the thing: if you fail and learn, it's okay, right? I mean, if I fall off the bicycle and I go, man, I'm never going to do that again, that's a whole different thing than I'm just giving up on the bicycle altogether. And that's where I think we don't look at failure a lot the correct way, I think, in a lot of things. Um, and then I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one too. Do you love what you do now?
I really do. I really enjoy it.
And how did you find this particular job? I mean, out of all the jobs out there, I mean, this is one thing I talk about with my kids all the time is, find something you love. But how did you find that? Because like my daughter would never know that your job even exists. I didn't know your job exists until I was probably in my 20s or 30s. So how
Yeah.
did you find it?
I was pretty intentional during those last few years in my old career as a police officer. I was pretty intentional about inventorying what were my strengths, what were my interests. I read several books on basically self awareness and career change and transition. And the book that I found most helpful, and I hope if anyone's listening to this, they'll actually take this suggestion and apply it. The book I found most helpful was a book titled "What Color Is Your Parachute?" And the
Hmm.
author's name is Richard Bolles, Bolles. And it was such a helpful book to me as far as revealing here's your natural skill set, here's what you'd really enjoy doing, and then coming up with a list of here are some careers that would be great for you to plug into. And it made wealth advising a natural fit. And at the time, because it was such a difference from what I was doing, because going from cop to wealth
Well,
advisor,
yeah,
that's a big change. At the time in my head, I was like, man, I don't know if this is right, but everything I've got written down says it is. And sure enough, I mean, it's been a great fit for who I am and what I like to do and what I'm good at.
that's interesting. I might have to find that link and maybe to Amazon or something. We'll put it in the thing. I'll update the just, and by the way, that reminds me, if everybody's watching, like and share this, and then of course join the pages, all of the pages that we have for the Kansas City Network and Connection, the videos, all the different things are in the description, along with Adam's contact information. So you can reach out through him to LinkedIn, But be sure to look at those links. I'll put that link though to that book if you remind me at the end of this in the description, so that way people who are interested in finding that book, we make sure we get them the right one. Um, so if someone watching wanted to follow the same career path, would you recommend them doing it the same way, or is there a better way to actually get to where you're at right now?
That's a really good question. I think one of the things that I wish I had known coming into this that I now know is I really didn't understand the industry. And so I didn't recognize the importance of finding a firm that had a vision and values that aligned with mine, because there are different firms out there. There are traditional financial firms and there are non-traditional disruptive financial firms. And where I'm at now is a very disruptive firm. By intention, we disrupt our industry. We're not doing things in traditional ways. We're doing things in very creative ways. And I started out, had experience with two other firms before this that were very traditional in nature, and their structure and their training and their client process, none of that was the way I wanted to run my business. And so I found myself kind of being the black sheep within those organizations. And when I came to where I'm at now, it's like I'm just another one of the family. So I think it is really important, if you're getting into this, to pair yourself with a firm whose values and vision is congruent with your own. And that will make a big difference on your success.
I think that's great advice no matter what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if
absolutely.
it's a business, I mean, another company, or what, if you're going to work for somebody, you better make sure that you kind of jive. And to your credit, and I mean, and no kidding, I've got lots of people who are asking to do this, and there's always a handful that work for the older companies who are slow to do anything, let's say, but they're waiting for compliance officers to give them you can do this, you can't do this, you can't answer this question, you can't do that. And it's like, that, man, that takes all the fun out of life. If you gotta, I mean, I was every compliance officer's worst nightmare, every business I worked at, because they were like, wait, well, you want to do what? And I'm like, this is nothing. This is like, everybody does this. Oh no, we gotta, it's like, you couldn't do anything without having the overlords give you the go ahead. And you credit to you guys, you don't have that issue. So and the next question is, what do you need help with now? Like, if everybody out there watching is like, you go, man, I could really use X, what would that be?
I think the two biggest challenges going into the next business year for me are going to be systemization of the business. So how can I remove myself from certain things that aren't the best use of my time?
Right.
And that could include hiring an assistant. That could include enlisting some software that helps automate certain parts of the business. That's number one. And then number two is creating additional inbound business. Now, I have lots of good inbound business now, but it's from just a few key sources, and I'd like to diversify those sources a little bit more. And so having more inbound, whether that's through marketing, referrals, something automated, some sort of automated system. Those are the two things I'm looking to going into the new year that are challenges that I need help with: systemization, automation, and then increasing inbound through multiple streams.
That's the beauty about technology now. There's probably something out there. If somebody knows about it, just let you know, because Crown does great stuff for us with this KV core. Everything's automated, and it's like, he can just go plug in a few things and spend an hour doing something, and it works 24/7 for you. It's pretty amazing stuff. So I think that's money well spent if you own a business. If you have to spend it, you might as well do it on something that's working for you all the time.
That's awesome.
Right? Do you have a mentor?
I do. I actually have several mentors.
Okay.
So I do peer mentoring and then mentoring up, as I term them. So peer mentoring is other people that are kind of in the same boat with me, in the same spot in their journey of life, and we're sharing ideas and feeding off each other's positive energy. So that's one type of mentoring. Then the other type of mentoring is mentoring up, where I'm meeting with, talking to, and getting ideas and suggestions and help from people that are further down the path than me. They are where I want to go, and I haven't been there yet, and they have, and so they can offer me assistance. And then it's not so much that these are mentors to me, but I'm also being mentors to those who are behind the trail from me, and they're maybe 2 years behind in the journey or whatnot, and I'm trying to help pull them up and help them accelerate that journey by sharing from my experiences. So that's kind of three different levels of mentoring that are going on in my world, and I find that helps me to stay engaged. It keeps me learning new stuff. It keeps me on top of my own game, just because each of those three types of mentors is expecting different things out of me.
No, that's great. And how did you find those mentors? I mean, because that's always the problem is you got, I mean, obviously someone who's like-minded, but then, finding them is always tough, and finding people who tend to have the, I guess the drive to be a mentor, because it's not easy, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not always, because you usually need to call late at night or early morning sometimes. And so how did you find those mentors?
Yeah. The short, simple answer is networking and building relationships. But the more detailed answer is, some of those folks came from within the firm that I'm at now, developing relationships as we saw each other, get to know each other in the office. Some of those relationships have come through LinkedIn. Some of those relationships have come from going to events like personal development events, leadership events. One of my strongest mentoring relationships in real estate is as a result of an event that took me down to Dallas. And while I was in Dallas, met this guy, had coffee, and it turned into a great mentoring relationship. So,
Awesome.
key is on networking and relationship building is that you do have to be willing to put yourself out there to the folks in the office, the folks on LinkedIn, the folks at the event. So take time to say hello, shake hands, work together, go to coffee together, and those are the ways you build those relationships.
Awesome. And that's, again, mentoring, it's tough because you not only does it, and this is what I get. I have a lot of people ask me to help mentor them a little bit. And I'd say fairly motivated guy, but the problem is everybody's got to be on the same page with what's the expectations, right? So that's, I run into that a lot where people want me to mentor them and want me to basically hold their hand. And that's not what mentoring is. It's keeping you accountable and keeping people, hey, look, you got to do these things and this is why. And, maybe you have a better idea, let me know. But too many times people think mentors are there to call you and go, hey, why aren't you doing this? And don't expect that from a mentor. So, and finally, how can people get a hold of you?
The best way to reach me is through LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I'm Adam Doran. The last name is Doran. I think I'm the only one in Kansas City, Rich. And then the firm I'm at is Prevail Strategies. So you've got the right Adam if that pops up. But I'm on LinkedIn daily. So sending a quick message on there with a connection request is the fastest, easiest, best way to reach me.
Okay.
And that's my primary mode of communication with new people in my network.
Awesome. And so that link is in the description. If anybody's rather than just go try to search it out, it's easier to just click on the link. So anyway, well, I want to say thank you for coming on today again, and I appreciate you making time. I know we're kind of all of us are really busy, even though it's the holiday. It's still like just kind of there's 2 weeks here that jam up December pretty bad for all of us who are trying to get stuff scheduled. So I appreciate you making time, and I look forward to it. And thank you again, and we'll talk to everybody later. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Be sure to like and share with everybody at home, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.